Welcome back to another edition of the Pop-Up Podcast here live at When Words Collide 2025. I'm your host, Lucas, and here with me is...
Finnian Burnett.
Finnian, thank you so much for sitting with me today. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I just finished giving a masterclass.
Oh, fantastic. Might I ask, what was the masterclass on?
It was called But Make It Gayer, and it's about writing queer characters with sensitivity and authenticity and humanity, I guess.
Oh, fantastic. And is this your first time at When Words Collide, or are you a repeat customer?
I'm a repeat customer. I came last year as a presenter, and while I was there, they invited me to come back as a special speaker this time.
Oh, fantastic. This is my second ever When Words Collide.
Oh, okay. So you're both first-timers together last year. Cool.
Yeah, totally. And missed you last time, but it's great to talk to you now. I'm assuming you're a writer yourself?
I am.
If for anyone listening who's curious, what's some of the stuff you've written?
I have probably my most popular book is a flash fiction collection called The Price of Cookies. I also have a chapbook called The Clothes Make the Man.
Okay.
And I just got an agent last year, actually, from When Words Collide for my new book, Arthur Undressed, but it has just gone on submission with my agents.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So when you are writing, do you typically find yourself attracted to a certain genre, or do you kind of bounce all over the place?
I mostly write contemporary literary, and I'm kind of like trauma-based, but in a good way.
Okay.
You know? But I also like kind of playing, like I'm writing a comedic, speculative Shakespeare retelling series with my best friend Andrew Buckley. So that's like nothing else that I write on my solo work.
Oh, okay. Oh, Andrew Buckley, that's a name that rings a bell. Okay.
Yeah.
And when it comes to your writing, what kind of got you into that space? What inspired you to start?
I feel that I wrote a lot when I was a kid, and then I quit for a very long time because of some not very supportive adults in my life.
Yeah.
And I didn't come back to it until I was in my 40s, and all of a sudden I think I just hit that spot where I'm like, I can't let other people's opinions dictate what I do with my life. And I think I just came into it loving it, and it has become just my life.
Oh, fantastic. And when it comes to writing, would you have any inspirations, whether it be a writer or a piece of work that kind of got you in that headspace and inspired you to keep writing?
I really love reading like Giller Prize winners, but I also love reading like fluffy romances like Shopaholic by Sophie Kinsella and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm really a big fan of speculative fiction, and I'm a very, very big fan of Robert J. Sawyer, who of course you know is here at this conference.
Yes.
One of the masters of science fiction. I don't write any science fiction. I read a lot of it.
Yeah.
I'm a little scared to try to approach writing it because it's just my beloved genre.
Whole new world, yeah.
But if I had like I write science fiction adjacent. My next flash fiction collection coming out is all about people who find like love and healing through Star Trek fandom. So it's not science fiction, but it's kind of like a love of science fiction.
kind of in the same branch, you could say. And speaking of Star Trek, very nice pride flag Star Trek pin you have.
Thank you so much. My friend Tristan gave it. It keeps falling upside down.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, it looks great. And kind of bouncing off that question, like you said, you just came from a masterclass you did about writing queer characters. Were you wanting to have done that because for a certain reason? Like, did something inspire you to talk about that specifically?
I think for myself that one of the things that really I think upsets me sometimes is queer characters done badly, or people who are like, well, I have to write diversity now because it's on trend. Yeah. And so then they're writing these, but we still have all these tropes and there's stereotypes and the kill the gays trope where like they'll introduce a character and the gay character gets killed.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to me to talk to people. I think that most of the people that come to that class are really genuinely, honestly there because they want to write really great queer characters.
Yeah.
And I just find the energy in that class is just so amazing. This is like my third time teaching that class, and I teach it with Andrew. And we always joke that, like, why is a straight guy keep teaching, queer characters? But I always joke that he's gayer than I am straight. So
no, gay in spirit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, yeah. I have to agree. I mean, as someone, I'm not queer myself, but I know a lot of people who are, and writing queer characters realistically and respectfully is definitely something that's important, especially as we evolve as a society and the written works that come out of that society also continue to evolve. I think, learning more from people who know about how to do that right is important. Not this year, but last year when I did this podcast previously, had another interview with a woman who wrote a lot of disabled characters, and she was not disabled herself, but she knew a lot of people who were and spoke with them extensively about how they would see a disabled character and how to write that properly. And would there be any queer characters in the halls of writing, either film or literature, that you would tout as being good representation of queer characters?
I always say I love young writers, and I'm a really big fan of young people in general because I feel that it keeps you young to talk to young people a lot. That's where your gender inclusive language is from young people, and so I never want to be one of those people that gets old and just set in my ways.
Just cuts
right?
off. Yeah.
So younger writers are the same. So I really like reading younger writers, and one of the books I tout is there's a book called Bianca Torre is Afraid of Everything, and it's about a non-binary neurodivergent bird watcher who accidentally falls into a murder mystery and has to solve it with the help of their best friend, who they're also secretly in love with. So it's one of those things that, I think another one is the No Girlfriend Rule by Kristen. I can't think of her last name right now, but it's called the No Girlfriend.
The name does ring a bell, yes.
And that's another one that's a plus-size queer character who I think the younger writers are really bringing out this wonderful diversity where it's not the focus of the person's life. It's just one aspect of it.
And that's fantastic. I think that's definitely something that deserves to be more widespread. I think the major pitfall of writing those types of characters, or at least for people who aren't in that world themselves, is making that the entire point of the character.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the people who complain carries with it a negative connotation, but who brings up the constant need for these characters, they're not upset with the characters being there. They're upset that all you hear about from the characters is this one aspect that if you were to talk to a person like that in real life, they wouldn't start the sentence with, "Hi, I'm queer."
Yes.
Yeah, it's a part of them, but it doesn't define them, I suppose.
Yeah, I always joke that I love Star Trek, I love cats, I'm stunningly good looking, and also I'm queer.
But ergo, when we started this, you didn't come out right at the gate of the first sentence saying that. Yeah, I'm learning that about you as we go, and that's something that should be reflected in the characters that people are writing.
Absolutely.
And like you said, young writers especially, I think they're representing kind of a shift in the status quo.
Yeah.
For sure. And thanks to workshops and masterclasses like the one that you gave earlier, I think more people are finding their way with that. So yeah, thanks for doing that.
My pleasure. This is a complete side note, but I love your glasses.
Oh, thank you.
You're so cool.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I really like yours too. Love that color.
You.
Yeah, I as someone who has been having to wear glasses in order to see forever, I thought, why not make them an extra accessory, kind of go crazy with them.
They're absolutely so fashionable.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I've had I'm talking to people with a lot of cool glasses today. If there's one place you want to go to find cool glasses, go where it's a lot of people who have to read.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. And when it comes to some of the stuff you've written, do you go right out of the gate saying, I want to tell a queer story? Or does that kind of just come to you after you've gotten the concept, oh, this character just happens to be queer?
I think it depends on what I'm writing. So my book that I was talking about that has gone on submission with my agent.
Yes.
That is about a fat body transmasculine person's journey to kind of recover from their mother dead naming them on her deathbed.
Okay.
And so, of course, that book came out of, this is the character I'm going to create who has this queer identity.
Yeah.
But like The Price of Cookies or like the Star Trek based one, there's a lot of queerness in there, but there's also a lot of other people in there, and there's neurodivergence in there, and there's people who were abandoned at birth in there, and there's like people trying to find their found family.
Yeah.
So it just kind of comes out as I'm creating the characters most of the time.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. And when it comes to, like you said, the development of your characters, do you usually structure or come up with what aspects of their personality they'll have depending on the genre? Because like you said, we were talking about murder mystery books and thrillers, and you've talked about, of course, like romance pieces. Depending on genre, would that dictate what aspects of the character you put as most prevalent?
Well, that's a really good question. I think I think that it might. Like, I would love to write. Kat Gordon is a science fiction writer.
That is also a name I recognize. Yes, Kat Gordon. Yeah.
And she also writes like disabled character. And her book, The Iris and I can't remember the name of it. It's ADHD, of course. It's just like completely not coming to my head. But Kat Gordon is the name, and she writes science fiction, and everybody just has like all of these different levels of what we consider disability, but to them it's not a disability.
Yeah.
And they have all these different levels of queer, and it's not addressed as queer, it's just how everybody exists.
Yeah.
So I would love to write something like that where it's just, no, it's just how people are, and if you have a problem with it. But also, like, when you're writing literary, you might be approaching a story that's about this kind of traumatic journey, and therefore that might
kind of dictate how it's going.
Yeah.
And it's actually so funny you mentioned that. I was blanking on her name. Kat Gordon is who I talked to last year.
Okay.
Yes, I had forgotten her name for a second, but then you jogged my memory.
Kat Gordon is a disabled author. That,
yes.
She writes about it on her blogs now.
Yeah. Apologies for my faulty memory.
That's okay.
But yeah, no, thank you for reminding me.
She's delightful too.
Kat Gordon's wonderful.
She's wonderful. I absolutely love her.
Yeah, Kat Gordon's the best, and her and a couple of also talked to Jack Castle, who's another great author. Last time as well. Got some really cool perspectives on how they write specific characters with specific childhoods or experiences, and even up talking with you now, I think we're kind of entering a new age where characters are given a lot more than just what we read on the page, whether it's implied or just said aloud. And when it comes to making that realistic, which, I mean, you literally gave a masterclass on it a bit before, but would you have any advice for people out there listening on how to insert these aspects of a character, whether it's being queer or having a disability, something or something that is holding them back? How would you implement that in a way that doesn't feel ham-fisted, in a way that's realistic?
I feel like I should be rolling up my sleeves and saying, I'm so glad you asked. I hope you have another half hour.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
But we were just talking about it in the class.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love to tell people to do is to dig into the universal feelings that your character has. So like you and I haven't had the same life experiences, but we both have probably experienced being an outsider at some point in our life. And we both probably experienced being lonely, or we both probably experienced disappointing our parents, or that sort of thing. And so one of the things I say is to dig into, like, what are your characters? What is your character trying to keep secret? What is your character's quirks? Who would your character save in a fire? That sort of thing.
Okay.
So digging into like that deep emotion and kind of just finding those universal feelings. And then if you want to bring in, like, somebody mentions their husband, or like something that I love to say is, like, for a lesbian asexual person, I sure love Captain Picard. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. So you can bring it in like humor, or gender, non-traditional pronouns, or that sort of thing. Andrew and I said we're writing that kind of comedic Shakespeare retelling. In Twelfth Night, Malvolio uses them pronouns, and nobody ever misgenders Malvolio. Even when they, like, the bad guys, they're like, oh, we can't stand them, but they're never going to misgender Malvolio. They're just going to, like, want to kill them, but they're not going to misgender them. So just making it a natural thing.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. And if anyone hearing this wants to hear more tips or advice from you, where would you recommend people go, both to find your work and to find you in general?
My website's really easy to find. It's finnburnett.com. So it's Finn Burnett, Burnett.com. I'm really accessible, so if you use the contact me on my website, I have young people message me all the time asking questions about writing. I have no problem with that. And all of my works are listed on my website as well, along with upcoming events and classes with Alexander Writer Center.
Fantastic. And when it comes to your writing, do you have anything? I know you said one just went up for submission, but do you have anything else, cooking or something that's you're planning on trying out?
I am. I'm working on another collection. It's called Ravens Don't Get High Blood Pressure and Other Tales of Queer Love.
All right.
And so that's one that we'll probably aim to publish next year. So while I'm having my novels go out with my agent, I have this little small indie publisher that publishes my quirky little flash fiction collections. So that'll be the next thing I'll be working on. And I'm also working on a novel called The Last Gay in the World. And it's a dystopian hellscape where this supposed last queer in the world is being kept in a museum as a warning to people not to be queer in this world.
Wow.
And the resistance that develops around a security guard that realizes that maybe the security guard has these feelings.
That sounds fascinating. am deeply interested in that.
I will have to finish it so you can.
Yeah.
read
Oh,
it.
thank you. Yeah, please do. That sounds. Yeah, definitely sounds like something you'd see out of like the Twilight Zone or one of the more progressive writers of that time. That's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, thank you so much. This has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you for inviting me. I
it's my
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Yeah, and anyone else listening, like you said, go find all of this fantastic work and cherish it and read it, and maybe get some inspiration for your own work, because the best inspiration can be found from people who know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for speaking with me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of When Words Collide.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and to everyone listening, thank you again for tuning in. Stay tuned for more of the Pop-Up Podcast live from When Words Collide 2025. Thank you so much.
Thank you.